some of you have commented. Just confirm if all of you are able to hear me. Hi Jigar, hi Aditi. Um, okay, I'll just wait for a quick confirmation from students and then we'll start. Okay, just let me know if all of you are able to hear me. So today somebody has written, after cat this felt like a cute puppy. Definitely agree. So the paper was on the easier side. Particularly I found it to be easier than Snap 23 as well, which in the past has been you can say somewhat of an easy paper. But yeah, definitely much easier compared to some of the previous versions of Snap. If I look at say even 21, 22, 24 as well, definitely much easier, right? Now I'm going to do a detailed live analysis in the next 1 hour, I think. So anyway, I'll be talking about the individual questions, the sections and the difficulty, etc. But for now, I'm just gonna give some initial comment on the whole thing. So the paper was much easier as I mentioned, but I would say there were, so I started counting how many easy questions were there. So roughly about 45 easy doable questions is what I found. So somebody who is like a decently prepared candidate should have been in a position to do about 45 questions at least, right? And when I say decently prepared candidate, I'm saying somebody who is on the verge of expecting say a 95 plus or a 96 plus percentile on the snap. um, there so Speaking of the individual section, so verbal section, a couple of questions which could have stumped a few people for some words, whether you know it or you don't. The technical grammar question which was there, right? Whether it is like preposition or adverb and so on, right? So those kind of questions, some people may have got such questions wrong. There were a lot of fill in the blanks questions, but if you read the sentence carefully, you would have been able to answer the question correctly, right? Okay, volume is very low. Okay, all right. Is it low for everybody? Uh, just let me check. Okay, I'll try and be a bit louder. So, verbal, as I said, fairly accessible. I think at least 10 questions out of 15 one could have done. Speaking of the LR section, a lot of series questions were easy. Maybe one or two of them, some people may not have been able to answer those questions because of the logic that was involved. One question on truth teller, liar, the knight, knave kind of question, which was there. That again would have been a bit difficult for some people. 26 January 1950, what was the day, etc. So, barring some of the questions out of 25, I would say somewhere around 18 to 20 questions one should have been able to attempt. Quant section, particularly, lot of straightforward questions, easily accessible. Most of the questions were 1, 2, or 3 lines. There was a question on Venn diagram, but again, one could have easily put that 3 set when was there. TSD question was straightforward. Questions on time and work. Most of the questions I would say were pretty straightforward and accessible. The only thing here then differentiating factors are, number one is how good is your vocab, because there are quite a few vocab related questions, and analogy based questions where you need to know the meaning of the words, right? So that is where again the differentiation lies. In quant, depending on maybe let's say some topics you may not have done. For example, somebody may not have done trigonometry. So even though that particular question was easily accessible, people might not have been able to answer some of the questions in quant as well. So overall, I would say roughly about 45 easy questions, somewhere around 10 questions that you can call moderate, and about 5 questions that maybe you can classify as difficult. So I would say if you're looking at SIBM and SCMHRD Pune, you're possibly looking at somewhere around a 48 plus score in this. If you get 47, maybe on the lower side, but I would not put it more less than that, because in the past we have seen for a 98 point something, 43, 44, 45 have been the figures. So the paper was comparatively easier. In fact, I think there hasn't been a lot of snaps where I thought that it was possible to finish the paper before time, but today it was possible. So that is why I would say, because it is on the easier side, a 48 is where I would put it for a 98 point XX percentile, maybe a 98.1, 98.2 ish, which would be like SIBM, SCMHRD kind of thing. Now, what I would suggest is all of you join me for the detailed live analysis that I'm going to do, and therein we'll talk about the individual sections, the question wise breakup. We will talk about how many questions were there from each of the areas, etc. So that will cover, but overall much easier. I mean, if I have to rant a little bit, I'm going to say that Snap definitely have, I mean, Symbiosis, they definitely need to do something about this, because you cannot make a test which is really easy. The problem with that is, though a lot of people get good feeling after the test that, oh, I've got a decent attempt and all of that, the distribution becomes really tight. So in a very short span, you will have a lot of people. For example, if somebody gets, let's say, a 38 versus and a 39, that gap of 38 39 could be a difference of, say, 2 percentile also. So you never know how it is going to be, because a lot of people will get stuck at those ranges, and that is why they should ideally not be setting such easily accessible papers. They have to do slightly difficult papers so that it segregates between good candidates and bad candidates. But they are definitely not doing it, right? So they have to do something about it. Maybe next year they learn from this, because this year, if you look at the score versus percentile, I'm pretty sure it is going to look on the higher side compared to last couple of years. I would say even 21 to 24, any of the years after Snap, I haven't had a feeling like this, right? That it's very easy or accessible. Can we expect difficult exam on 14th and 20th? Is somebody what Tarun is asking. So you never know, right? And the other rant part of it is, if you can't normalize, right? I mean, you have a test, you are conducting three different tests. Clearly, you can't have exactly same difficulty, right? So it's better that they should normalize, but they don't, and that's really sad. It's very unfortunate that they are forcing people to go for multiple attempts, and just because people get anxious about their performance, they end up taking more attempts. So it's very unfortunate in my view. And then after paying so much, you are putting out a paper which is easy, which is not helping anybody, right? So I'm not very happy about it. Um, Manas is saying 48 for 98 percentile is insane. No, but see, the thing is, I've met a lot of students. In fact, I'm sitting in the car of one of the student, and a lot of students had better attempts than what they had previously, right? So there is going to be that increase of at least 3 to 4 marks naturally, just because the paper was easy, correct? Yeah, so as I said, right, the paper was easy. I found it to be much easier than 21, 22, 23, 24 Snap, and I've taken Snap in each of those years. And there have been cases where I've not been able to solve a couple of questions, right? Because the questions were, anyway, I'm not practicing, but I was still not able to solve a few questions. But today it wasn't the case. And even if, let's say, you don't know a particular word, you could have taken a few chances, and in previous versions it was not possible. So I would say much easier than last year. I don't know. We'll wait for the detailed analysis. Maybe then that time I'll take more responses from students as to how they found the whole thing and how many attempts they did. But I'm pretty sure that this is going to be a very high scoring paper, unlike the previous years of Snap. Okay, so that's my immediate take on this. How much can I expect with 35? Okay, so on the B school zone, we have given a table of last 4 years score versus percentile data. We'll try and publish similar thing for 25, like an estimate, but it's too early to do that, considering the second and the third paper is still remaining, right? So we'll see. It's very difficult to do that also, like the score versus percentile prediction. But in this one, as I said, around 45 easy questions, about 10 moderate questions, and 5 difficult questions is how the overall composition was. So let's see. I'll see you in the detailed live analysis. So I'll wrap it up for this one. Okay. All right. I'll see you. Bye. Take care.